Not gonna lie, today I definitely look unapologetically black, okay? Power to the people. Ashe. Okay, day 3. We nice and big and wild in this thing. Love it. Bing, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam. The type of shit I'm on you wouldn't understand. Nah, like for real, y'all wouldn't. Big dog business. I will not hold your hand. I'm trying to tell you. What's good in the YouTube hood? It's your girl Luna Nova, and I'm back with another one for y'all today. Not gonna lie, today I definitely look unapologetically black, okay? Power to the people. Ashe. Alright. Unapologetically black. And if y'all are wondering where my hoodie is from, y'all need to go shop with Ken Apparel, okay? This is not a sponsored video, although I do hope and pray in the future that maybe I can become a brand ambassador for this company because I absolutely love it. If y'all haven't noticed that these are usually the only hoodies that I wear, which are the satin lined hoodies, again, from Ken Apparel. Let them know that Luna sent you. They've definitely seen posts that I've made wearing their products before on Instagram, so definitely go and tag them in this video because, like I said, I'm trying to see if I can go ahead and work up a deal with them because I absolutely love the brand. Like, I truly do, and I want a lot more of their clothes. So yeah, and they also have really nice hats, beanies, like I said, satin lined hoodies. Like, they have a bunch of different things. They even have the little satin line thing that goes around your headrest for your car so you can protect your crown while you driving, because you know your hair will snag on it, the back of the headrest and all that. So they have already come up with a solution for that. I absolutely love this brand because they truly do cater not only to the curly girls and guys out there, but to black hair. And to that I say thank you, kinfolk. On the reservation, the dark doesn't just hide things, it watches you back. These are creepy stories told by real Indigenous people, and these are not the kind of stories you want to hear alone. Now, y'all already know when it comes to the spooky stuff, I'm down for the ride. Today, we're talking about a ride down to the reservation. But today, we're taking a ride down to the reservation. Indigenous culture is way more sacred, powerful, and much deeper than what those Hollywood movies try to tell us. And that's why I made sure to do my due diligence and make sure that every video that you guys watch today comes directly from an Indigenous creator. People who have actually lived on the reservations or have deep and strong ancestral ties to the reservation. All right, now these stories, we're not just talking about ghosts that follow you home, because they already know where you live. Cryptids that'll make you rethink those late night walks that you want to take. And some things so strange that when it's mentioned to an elder, they'll just say things like, yeah, just don't go over there. So grab your rosemary bundles or your protection candles, which are fully restocked here with the Mystic Muse, or at least a blanket to hide under, and let's get into these creepy reservation stories.
I grew up on the Blackfeet Indian Reservation in Browning, Montana, and I moved back and forth from Browning to Wolf Point. Now, if you know, you know, there's a lot of creepy stuff that happens on the reservations. Lots of history, right? Anyway, so, like, we have Goatman, we have the Little People. In between Wolf Point and Poplar by the bar, the cut, allegedly there's a man with a top hat and a black trench coat that walks the road by the crossroads, right? So there's a lot of creepy stuff. And I know down on the Navajo Nation, they have tin stalkers, you know, I'm not going to say it. Anyways, if you guys have any creepy story times, you guys should stitch my video and let me know because I'm very intrigued. I'm trying to think of a good one to tell you guys, but I can't really think of any right now, so I'll probably have to do another video later.
Have you ever heard of these native superstitions? These are some of the creepy rules on the reservation that I grew up hearing, and one was don't look outside at night or something is going to look back at you. That honestly terrified me as a kid, so we always closed the curtains at night and never looked out. Or if you have the windows or curtains open at night, it was a sign to the bad spirits that they were welcome to come inside. It was the same as whistling at night or whistling at the northern lights. You weren't supposed to do that, or something will come and take you away, or you are calling the bad spirits to you. Another superstition is if something calls your name in the woods at night, you don't answer and you don't look in the trees for it. I'll be covering more legends and superstitions, but Is there any native superstitions that I missed or you grew up hearing? Let me know down in the comments. And if you like videos like this, be sure to like and follow my YouTube and podcast at Sacred Cree. Bye!
So, I just wanted to share this scary story that happened to me when I was 15. So, I was living in White Eagle, and that is like the Ponca tribal like reservation. I'm Ponca and I'm Oto. So, anyways, it was nighttime. I was brushing my hair, getting ready for bed. And then all of a sudden, I hear this like man's whisper voice. And he just said, "Hey." Like, I lost it. Like, I threw my brush, ran out of my room, ran into my brother's room across the hall. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Harry, did you hear that?" And obviously, like, he didn't. He was just playing his PlayStation, you know. And so I knew nobody was playing a trick on me because it was just like, it was like bone chilling. Like, it gave me chills. It scared like the crap out of me. So I told him about it, and he was like, and we knew it was something. And we weren't about to look out the window because, like, my mom always told us, like, never look out the window at night because something could be looking back at you. And, like, I still don't. You know, I'm not going to look out the window at night, ever. And I tell my kids that, too. I'm like, do not look out the window. So, anyways, everybody else was asleep. So I finally got okay enough to go back in my room, and I never heard nothing after that. It just felt weird. So the next morning, I was telling my mom about it, and she's like, she told me that my stepdad had heard something that morning too. So she was like, yeah, something's around. So they ended up smoking the house off, and then whatever it was, it went on and moved on, and it didn't bother us no more. So flash forward, you know, several years later, I'm an adult. I'm on Facebook scrolling, and I come across this video, and I want to say it was shared by like an Osage lady, and she had recorded that same voice that said, "Hey." And so it's something. I don't know what it is, but if you've ever like had that voice, experienced that, you know, let me know in the comments, you know, if you know what that is. But that was scary. You know, that's one of several scary stories that's like happened to me. But anyways, just let me know.
If you're from the res, you've most likely heard the story of the stranger or strangers that have a tail and hooves for feet. They usually show up where there's alcohol, a bar, a dance, a house party. My grandma told me the story of two of them showing up to a dance a long time ago. It was a man and a woman. When they arrived, they came from the top of a hill that had no roads. Everyone can see their headlights coming down, and they were wondering who was coming and where were they coming from. The car they arrived in was very fancy. It was very futuristic, something that none of them have ever seen before. Everybody was having a good time. They were dancing with each other, and they were dancing with other people, until one person noticed that they had hooves for feet. Surprisingly, no one panicked. What they did was they started to block off the exits because they wanted to trap them in there. The strangers noticed, and they were dancing with each other at the time, and they started making their way towards the only exit that wasn't blocked yet. There were people outside that were curious about the car, and they were looking at it, peeking inside of it, and even touching it. Now the man and woman, they come outside, they get in their car, and they drive off. They drive towards a bridge, and they go right underneath it, and they disappear. So a lot of people actually saw the car, but there were only a few people that touched it. And the people who touched it ended up dying not too long afterwards.
So one time when I was like in middle school, one of my mom's friends was telling us a story that he had seen Deer Woman. He said he was driving, it was like almost dark, and it was pouring rain. And he was driving on this road. It's like a small lonely road on a res. And he came across this woman. She was walking in this downpour. So he stopped and picked her up. She got in. He said she was soaking wet. Her hair was long and black. She was wearing a denim coat, and she had a purse with her.
And he said, "Are you going to town?" And she nodded her head yes. And he said, "Man, aren't you cold?" And she nodded her head yes. And then after answering those two questions, she just kind of turns her head and just looks out the window. And he's trying to make conversation with her, like, you know, "What are you doing walking out here by yourself?" And she wouldn't answer. And this is a road where, like, there's hardly any houses. So he was kind of thinking, you know, that's odd that she's out here walking by herself in this rain. Well, he said, being a guy, you know, I had to check her out. So he said he looks over and he looks at her from head, you know, to toe. And he gets to her feet and he said they were deer hooves. And he knew immediately who she was. So he slams on his brakes and he looks at her and he says, "Get out, I know what you are." And she turns and she looks at him. And he said she had these little tiny black choke cherry eyes. He said they looked really creepy. And he said she looks at him and then she turns back towards the door and she opens it and she jumps out. And he watches her run down into the ditch. And just that fast, she changes into a deer and she jumps over the fence. And he looks down to where her purse was. And it was a piece of wood. So he grabs it and he throws it out. And he reaches over and he closes the door and he hauls cheeks. He was like, "I've never been so scared in my life because I know what deer woman's capable of." And he said she was probably going to take me out. And he said, to this day, I have never picked up a hitchhiker ever again. Yeah. So, tell me some of your deer woman or shape-shifting stories. I'd love to hear them.
Let me tell you a scary story that happened to me and is very true, by the way. Okay, so one time when I was about 16, I moved into this house in Kelowna on Hines Street, I think it was called. And I guess like Hines Street is the bad street of Kelowna, which I never knew. I thought I was living in the fucking Hamptons because I come from Regina, from the hood. Anyways, so I moved into this house and at first, like, it just had fucking creepy vibes. Really creepy vibes. My nephew slept with me in my bedroom and he slept in his crib at the foot of the bed. And my niece, she slept in her room, which was at the last room in the house. And she always got up in the night and would come and sleep with me. And she's like, "Auntie, I don't like it in here. I don't like it in here." And then I lived with my sister. My sister had to drive her husband to work every night because he worked a night shift across town. So she would be gone for a full hour at like 12 a.m. So I'd be home alone with the kids every night. And every time she would leave, weird things started happening. Like, and it just escalated. At first, like, my niece would not sleep in that back room at all. She would not sleep in that back room. And all of a sudden I started hearing like knocking coming from the back room. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm not going in there. And then scratching. There would be scratching on the door. And I'd get like this weird hot and cold feeling when that would happen. I don't know how to describe it. And I'd hear scratching in the rooms. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, so Kiwin would not sleep in there. And then this one night my sister left and I went on the back balcony. And the balcony, like, you have to physically lock the fucking balcony, right? And I didn't even shut the door fully. I left it open a little bit, and then all of a sudden I went to go smoke a cigarette, and then I go back and I'm trying to go into the house and I'm fucking locked on the balcony in the back. And I got so pissed. I got so fucking pissed because like whatever was in there, the kids were in there and it locked me out. So I fucking jumped off the balcony, went to the front, had to break into the house, go upstairs, get mad, smudge the whole house out. I'm yelling at whatever the fuck is in there. And then one night I was sleeping in my room and my nephew, he just like woke up in the middle of the night. It was pitch black in my room and he's just laughing and laughing, and he's a baby. And I was like, what the heck? So I started recording him in the dark. And then I turned the light on
And I'm recording him, and he's laughing and laughing and looking around the room. I was like, what the hell? And anyways, forgot that video on my phone. Forgot about it for months. And my brother was like, hey, can I look at your phone? Can I look at your videos? And I was like, yeah, sure, here you go. Looking at him, and he's like, Neeks, what's this video? I look at the video, and it's my nephew laughing, and there's all this like black stuff like going across the screen. Like, it's like there's something flying around my fucking room. And that house, like, it just felt so yucky. Like, it just kept getting worse and worse, to the point like we just moved out. We just moved out of there, and I didn't know what the hell was in that house. And it's in Kelowna on Hines Street. And if you want some more spooky stories, I've lived in so many fucking creepy ass houses. Creepy houses. Unexplainable shit's happened. But if you like this story, I could tell you more. So, one time I went to a wake in Kakawishtown. And this is in like Fort Capel Valley, right next to my res, which I'm from Cowes. And I was at this wake, and it was like, say, 3 o'clock in the morning, and like me and my cousins were like 14, 13 and shit. We were like, it's like 3 in the morning, and I was standing outside with my cousins, and we looked, and like right down the, I'm not gonna say blocks, down the road, there was a church, a really old church that had no power connected to it. And I was looking at it, and I was like, there's a light on in the back. And I was like pointing to my cousin, I'm like, hey, look, there's a light on there. And they're like, there's no power to that church. And I was like, huh, okay, well, what the fuck? And me and my other like little shitty cousins were like, we should go touch the church. So we all like worked ourselves up to go and touch this fucking church that had no power but had a light on. And we go, and we were walking down the road, and it's like 3 in the morning, and we get to this freaking church, and we're looking at it. And then we start walking up to it to touch it, and then one of my fucking cousins starts screaming. He started screaming, and he turned around, and he fucking booked it. He booked it. And he was the oldest. And we all start running. There's like 6 of us. We all start running after him. And the youngest one, his shoes came off. His fucking shoes came off, and he's crying. And I'm like, fuck, man. None of these kids are stopping. So I had to stop, walk backwards, because I didn't want to look at the church. And I had to walk backwards, and I was just standing there. Hurry the fuck up, man. Hurry up, put your shoes on, man. I didn't want to look at the church. I was scared, man. And then I like snuck a peek, and I could see like fucking this little thing behind the church. Like, I don't know what the hell, to this day, I don't know what it was. And my cousin finally gets his shoes on, and then we start booking it again, and we get there, and I was like, why'd you guys leave us? Anyways, we didn't touch the church. And then my cousin told me that he's seen like this little apprehension. He's apprehending. He's kidding. I'm a fucking little girl. Anyways, the things you do on the res, man. I got some more fucking dumb res stories that are haunted. If you want to hear some, let me know.
Shit, you guys. I'm just sitting here at work, and these 2 girls just came into the school, and they're just standing there at the end of the hall. I don't know what to do. And go away, this is the res, you can't do that here. Oh my God, I'm all alone. Where's the res dogs when you need them? Nope, I'm out of here. Nope, no way. Nope, I'm out of here. Nope, no way. Nope, I'm out of here. Nope, no way. Nope, nope, I'm out of here. Nope, no way.
Native ghost stories.
So stories around the reservations are hard to come by because everybody, the taboo is not to talk about them. Well, this particular night, it was a very dark night, and I was living with my ex at that time. Our oldest daughter, who happened to still be an infant, was sleeping in her crib. As we were getting ready to lay down for bedtime and all this other stuff, we used to live in this little trailer where the doors are all on one side, front and back. Well, the front door is basically held by a chain lock, one of those chain locks you just slide through, and if you really wanted to, somebody could kick it in. So, well, this night happens to be very, very dark night, and for some reason, I try not to be superstitious, or I try not to let, because I'm afraid of the dark. So, I'm trying to get over my fear, and it didn't help that this particular night, I just did not want to. I just didn't feel comfortable at all. So I kept at a very close eye on my daughter because she slept by the window, and we propped the window open because it gets really, really hot. Well, as I was saying, this night was very, very dark. You can see our neighbor's street lights. You can see people driving up and down the road, and at the same time, you can see where I-40's at, the interstate and all that stuff. But you just really couldn't see anything else. As we were getting ready to lay down and go to sleep, we were talking about the next day's activities. As we were slightly dozing off, we heard somebody knock on the door. So you know how when somebody knocks on the door of a glass door, you hear, scared the hell out of me. I asked him, "Did you hear that?" And then all of a sudden, we heard somebody trying to come in. The door opens. Door opens. Door opens again. And I was like, what is going on? So we were so scared. He runs to the front door and he checks outside, and as he's looking off, and of course it's dark, the shadows will play tricks on your eyes, but he said he swore he saw something stand up, get down, and start running. So our back door doesn't really have much of a lock. It just latches. Let's just put it this way. Then the following night, same thing happened again. Third night, as I say, things happen in threes sometimes. Third night, same thing happened. After that, as I fuck this, I'm bringing my dog down. Ever since I took my dog down to stay with me at that trailer, never happened again. And I'm so grateful that I had my dog at that time, but it scared me. I'm so glad my daughter didn't wake up and get scared, but it seemed like it was after our daughter at the time.
One of the most mysterious places on Cheyenne River is the Cheyenne River Bridge. There's been spooky stories about the Cheyenne River Bridge in the area for probably as long as the bridge has existed. Hitchhiking ghosts, lights in the sky, little people, deer woman, tall man, cryptids, and just anything creepy you can think of. Screaming coming from the trees. It all has been reported at one point or another right here. I could do a whole series of spooky videos just on the Cheyenne River Bridge alone, but one of the more recent ones that really creeped me out was during the pandemic. Now, during the pandemic, for those of you who don't remember, Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, we actually had border patrol. We had checkpoints set up at every entrance of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. And, people got hired to go maintain those checkpoints, to stand there all day, stand there all night, make sure the people coming in, were enrolled members or what they were doing, whatever. I knew a girl who was stationed at the Cheyenne River Bridge. They had one on the north side, because the north side of the bridge is tribal land. But if you go south across the bridge, that's South Dakota state side. So they were set up on the north side of the bridge. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's cold, and there wasn't a single car coming through. This girl said her and these 2 other women that she was working with were just sitting around, trying to stay warm. Not a single car. But at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, they see somebody walking across the bridge. So they look, they shine their lights, and sure enough, it's somebody walking towards them. So they're like, it's probably somebody hitchhiking. It's cold. Let's go drive down across the bridge, pick them up, give them a ride here, at least let them warm up. So they went. And she says, as they approached this person walking about halfway across the bridge, it stopped and it looked at them. And she said, she never did describe it in detail, but she said there was something wrong with its face. She said it stopped, it looked at them, and it just ran and jumped over the side of the bridge. So they freaked out. They were frozen. They're like, that person just jumped off the bridge. They're like, oh my God, you know? They didn't think it was anything spooky. They thought they seen somebody jump off the bridge. So they ran up to where it jumped off. They had their spotlights. And she claims they went to spotlight. They lifted it up and they were gonna look down. But as they pointed it forward over the side of the bridge, they seen the person. And it was in the air. Like it was still standing on something. There's nothing for it to stand on. At this point, they freak out. They throw their flashlights down. They jump in the truck. They run back to the other side of the bridge and they quit. They called their boss, the manager, and they said, we quit. And they all left.
So if you ever drive into Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe at night and you have to go across the bridge, drive a little faster, keep your eyes on the road. Whatever you do, do not look to the left, to the right, or in your rear view mirror. You might not like what you see.
Ooh, yeah, see, I don't play about stuff like that. Respectfully, some of these creatures and parakeets have been here much longer than the naming of this country. And those are things I don't want to play with. I may be down for a lot of the spooky shit, but I am not the one to be testing out the waters with this. A big thank you to the Indigenous storytellers who shared their experiences, parakeets, and stories with us so we could get a glimpse into what they truly experience and maybe learn a little respect for the unseen and the sacred along the way. Now that we've made it through the full video, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know about your spooky encounters, whether you've lived on a reservation or close to a reservation, because I definitely want to share more of these stories for Mystic Monday. I'm not gonna hold you. The story about the deer woman definitely would have freaked me the fuck out if I would have been the person trying to be the good innocent bystander trying to help. But it was good that he kept his calm. One thing in these situations, especially in my own personal situations, you have to remain calm. You can't show fear, even if you are fearful. Now, after hearing all of those stories, which one of those stories do you think that you would have been able to maneuver through the best? I definitely think the situation where the ghost or whatever it was knocking up against the door, I would have been able to handle that because I've tackled many situations like that myself. So I would have been able to have that one in the bag, but everything else, I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video so I can push out another one for you guys. I'll see you guys next time for some creepy, mysterious, and maybe even dangerous adventures. So with that being said, make sure that you drink your water, mind your business, and stay prayed up and protected. And as always, Luna loves you. I'll be back with another video for you guys if the spirits allow it.